introduction.
Yes.
Welcome in. It's allergy season.
It's allergy season, baby.
Pollen is bad.
It is very bad, especially in Chattanooga, North Georgia. They know. I think Atlanta knows as well. Welcome into Chat 10 Sports. We are doing specifically a Game of Thrones show tonight. No, I'm just kidding.
He's been waiting for this all day.
What a show last night. Obviously, there's a kind of a big weekend in sports.
Yep.
Just a few things. I think every one of our teams that we, except for the Titans, played in some way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Masters. But obviously, this is our usual Monday night show where we're here 7 p.m. for about an hour, maybe hour and 15 to discuss all things Tennessee sports and everything in between. Tonight, as our header says, we're covering Masters, we're covering Predators, Braves, Vols, Orange and White game, and then we are going to discuss some Game of Thrones and kind of recap and see where we're going next week since the preview was... Did you guys watch the preview?
Yeah.
At the end of the end of the end?
Yeah.
Okay. Jamie...
Yeah.
I don't know. We won't get into it right now, but do me a favor. I'm going to do it right now from our account and some friends and retweets, but share the show for us on Facebook if you're jumping in on Periscope. Welcome in. Do us a favor, hit the 3 dots, and hit that share button.
Yeah, as usual, we want all of your comments. Monster weekend in sports. We had the Masters and maybe the greatest comeback of all time. Everybody's got something to say. Give us your opinions. Some people, there's the few weirdos that don't like Tiger Woods and didn't cheer for him yesterday. And then, also, I kind of like the early start time. So let us know how you felt about that. Preds sneak out 1 in OT. A lot to talk about.
Reasonable starting time on that one, unlike every other game.
It.
Thanks, NHL, for that. Again tonight,
9:30
puck drop.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, NHL. Anyways, we are Facebook, Twitter,
Where
Google Play,
Yep.
iTunes,
Spotify.
YouTube.
Yep.
I don't know. I think that's it. Anyways,
And we're on Zanga still.
plenty.
Zanga. Well, we
From
really...
way back in now. I have no idea if that's
Wow.
even still.
We're on plenty of
Okay.
platforms. We also have an all-in-one inclusive website, chat10sports.com.
That's right.
We'll have all of our content. We will upload our weekly show to it. We'll have guest writers who are very good. We will have our pieces as well. If you're into working out, if you're into Game of Thrones.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, we like to, kind of stretch it out a little
By
bit.
the way, Kibby went to the Augusta National
I did. I bought a shirt.
course. Got me some gear. Looks fantastic, by the way. But he did put an article up last week to recap his experience. Give us a little snippet. I mean, that was a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity, especially how you got the tickets.
Yeah, so I've ever since I've been legal, I've entered in that raffle every year. All my friends have, my dad has. Always send a screenshot of the rejection emails with the caption, "A tradition like none other." That's usually what I thought I was getting punked. I really wanted to know where the hidden camera was whenever I got
Ashley Kutcher coming out somewhere.
yeah, who knows where he's been this whole time, but I thought I thought it was a joke. I really looked into it, and lo and behold, I got 4 tickets to the practice round Monday.
Only person I've ever heard of that's actually won that.
Yeah, the only person I've ever heard of that's actually
what
won.
What kind of dealings are you involved with, Kurt?
Yeah.
What kind of back alley stuff?
I don't know. I may still owe somebody some money somewhere, but you come collect. You can find me somewhere. But yeah, it was incredible. Rolled in there before the sun came up. I literally walked in the gates to Justin Rose and Justin Thomas chipping, and in the distance is Tiger Woods on the range, who eventually came to the chipping green. I followed Tiger, Justin Thomas, and Freddie Couples down the back 9, the first half of the back 9, into Amen Corner, and then I stopped there because my favorite 2 golfers, Bubba Watson, Brooks Koepka, were in the grouping behind them with J.B. Holmes, and I followed them through the rest of that 9 because the practice rounds they only played 9.
Yeah.
So apparently they were expecting some rougher weather. We were too, and so a lot of the bigger names came out earlier. Got to see Couples, Thomas, and Woods skip over 16, all hit it at the same time. I mean,
that's one of the coolest things.
But just like, because I've been to golf tournaments, PGA tournaments, especially the one in Memphis. Tiger usually skips because there's usually a major right after that tournament, so I haven't seen Tiger in person yet. So I was just giddy. It's just like, and everybody around you looks like a child.
Yeah.
Like you're you're like glued to
everybody's just looking, and
every time he jostles the ball, or because they were taking multiple shots at every green, just trying to get the feel for it, and so it was a lot more lax, but just the skill that these guys have, TV doesn't do it justice.
Yeah,
I mean, it's unreal what these guys can do.
It's unbelievable.
I know in the times, I've never gone to an actual PGA, but even just playing golf, watching the Masters this weekend, and some of the shots, like, even from the rough, it's like, you just see that ball fly.
Yeah.
I mean, on occasion they have to curve it and put, like you said, put some English on it, but it's one of those things, like, either it's a perfect shot or it's your dream shot.
Yeah, it's my dream shot, and they're mad about it.
Less than what you want.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, it's unreal. The course, all it was chalked up to be. Like, my whole life I've heard, like, oh, it's just amazing. And I'm kind of, all right, it's a golf course. But no, there's something almost, like, spiritual about those grounds.
It is.
And it just, like, everybody has the reverence of, keeping quiet and being respectful. There's no cell phones. Maybe that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
It's not Coachella.
Hashtag stay off your phones. It really is. It's just unbelievably beautiful.
And the pimento cheese sandwiches and
really good. Yeah. I got the pimento cheese sandwich I'd heard about for years.
It's like, I just want to look at it for a second.
It's very hilly. Living in Chattanooga, you kind of used to, hoofing it up and down a few hills, but man, it's long. It's a long course.
Well, let's jump right into the Masters recap. Obviously, what a weekend. I know just from the beginning of it, there was some favorites and Tiger talk. And just to think about, obviously, his story, his arc, where he's been, what he's put himself through, and then what he's come back from. I know some people there's been tons of stuff on Twitter about people back. We were talking about it before the show. It's been 10 years since the whole thing unfolded for him. But showing him videos from then and saying, will Tiger Woods ever win a major again?
Yeah.
People saying, no. I think we'll talk about it in a second, but I'm not a huge majors golf guy. It usually puts me to sleep, but it's the Super Bowl of golf.
Yeah, I watch the majors. Like, I don't even watch. Like, I keep up with who's winning.
Yeah.
Points, money, all that stuff, and I keep up with who wins tournaments. But I don't watch golf because, like I said, it's not exactly to me a spectator sport. But I will watch the majors, and I especially watch the Masters every year. But man. The crowd was thick. The players were out. Man, the leaderboard was just chock full of big names the whole weekend. Yeah. It was perfect. It was everything.
Yeah. I know. I felt bad for the guy Finlau.
Finau.
Yeah. He was.
Gosh, he's a good dude too.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because they're all within a stroke of each other.
Yeah.
And here he is saying now he's tied for 5th at the very end. But it's like, man, you're one or two shots away from making it, and someone else is 1 or 2 shots from slipping out of contention.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the Masters so much, is because it's such a competitive, and even the way that golfers talk about it, there's no other place that gets your emotions into it, your head into it, and then just the competitiveness of that course. I know there was one hole, I forget which one it was, but even chipping onto it and the degrees of which the slants and all the slopes and stuff, it's like, man, you got to know the course. Your caddy has to be on his game to help you out, and it's just like, I have no inkling in my body that would give me the opportunity to compete anywhere near those guys. Yeah. You just got to be an all-in watch.
And that's the thing is, like, watching some of these putts yesterday was, Koepka had one where the hole is literally behind him, and it's probably a 14-foot putt, but he has to hit it a total of like 28 feet. It's behind him. He hits it left, lets it drift around, and I'm talking it's a tap, and these things move like glass, and it's a curve back around, and he overshot it by like 4 or 5 feet.
And it was slow.
So
it was a slow. All the rain kind of made slow conditions.
Day, yeah.
Which you notice if the shoulders of the greens, usually your ball hits that, it's shooting off yards in some direction.
Yeah.
This week they had a little bit more forgiveness with that.
A little bit.
But the greens, even in slow conditions, were unreal.
Oh man,
unreal.
Let me see. Got a couple comments from some guys. Steven Snyder says, hello, guys. Gaffy saying Brandon is the Night King, which I'm sure we'll We'll get into some speculations towards the end.
All right.
Gavin Jones says, "How overpriced are drinks and Kurt or in food or
Drinks and food?
at Augusta
No,
National?
they make no profit.
So they're just straight
Off
up.
of, off of
like
drinks and food.
$1.50, aren't they?
Yeah, it's
for
super
sandwiches?
cheap. Yeah, it's super cheap. Everything's at cost. That's the way that they design it. Now this shirt and anything with a nice they'll get you there. And anybody that paid aftermarket, which you're not supposed to do legally, for tickets or passes, they got their money's worth there.
I've heard stories of people that will rent their houses out and they charge unbelievable prices. And by the way, look underneath the rug in the living room.
Yeah, everybody has like a horror story of the hotel they stayed in the night before or after the Masters. Yeah, I've got one of those too. At a later date. But yeah, every place within 2 hours sells out months in advance.
Herb Goney, who's changed his icon to a Yankees.
Ooh.
It's all right. We'll keep you around,
Herb.
But he says Masters was great. Love the Tiger win. You can see he still impacts the game.
Yeah.
Love all people are gathering each hole, and the Tiger chant. Loved it. Waited for years. It was one of those things for me, like we talked about, and I'm sure everyone felt this way. But the initial putt, and you hear Jim Nantz giving his iconic voice, and then him walking off of the green. And seeing his son and I think it's his daughter and his mom. It's just one of those moments where it's like, man, that is what sports is all about. And it's I think every year, regardless of who wins, it's memorable to know about that person, figure out their story. I remember when Spieth I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3, that he just dominated.
Yeah.
And kind of
his coming out party.
Put himself on the map, even though he had a pretty good reputation prior to
that. To me was the funny thing is because they interview people as they finished, and they interviewed Dustin Johnson, who's the #1 golfer in the world right now, and he was like, there's a very, very big difference between the roar he got and he could hear in the distance for Tiger.
Yeah.
It's just a different electricity or something that he brings. To me, like we've discussed, Tiger was our generation's GOAT.
Right.
He was hands down, he made golf more popular than it ever could have been without him. To see him come full circle and beat all these kids that grew up idolizing him.
Yeah.
Especially how far back this guy was.
Yeah.
As we were talking about before the show, too, like this guy was barely supposed to get back to a normal life of just walking around after 4 spinal surgeries and knee surgeries. And the guy, it's one of those things like, bad knees overcompensated for a bad back because he couldn't move correctly, and he was off his back foot was his knee problems. It's like this guy just was supposed to just walk around. We all remember the medication photos from when he got arrested. And that's what Kurt was talking about earlier. Rough looking pictures.
Yeah.
You take that photo. Yesterday. It was awesome to see.
And it's interesting to me to just like I said, Koepka misses a putt there on 18 that could have forced a playoff. There's just a certain chain of events of how it just kind of laid out. Like I heard someone saying earlier, I've never rooted against other golfers. Yeah. Sunday, I was like, oh, missed that putt. Missed that putt.
Francesco
Molinari, he had
that 15, he went 2 over on a par 5. And he had, on 12 he went 2 over as well. But it's just one of those things. I mean, that pressure, and I know they talked about it for Tiger, it's like that's just a Masters experience. Yeah. It's like how to play it at round 4, and it's nothing against, like you said, we're not rooting for him to fail, but it's like you watch guys make or break their time there.
When I was listening to Mike and Mike this morning, or whatever it's called now, Wingo and Golick or whatever.
Trey and Golick,
and
Junior.
And Tiger was the first golfer to lift weights and get big, and he was physically imposing. He was intimidating, to have that large frame in the red and black in the corner of your eye, just stoic look on the face. He was prime Tiger for the first time I never thought I'd see it again.
Yeah.
On Sunday. It was beautiful to watch.
Well, let me ask you guys this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, it's one of those, you have Molinari who just kept saving pars, solid golf all day, and then finally, that feeling where he goes and, gets a little out of his element on, 12, whenever he's got his first water hole, and tries to overshoot it, or tries to go for the pin when you just got to hit it in the middle of the green right there and not try to attack. You just play it up. That's a tough little pin location. and he got out of his element, and that's the first time I felt like he felt that. Oh wow, nobody wants me to win.
Yeah.
They didn't care. Nobody was like, oh.
Yeah.
They were just like, all right,
And to be-
let's go. Tiger's got a chance
Yeah.
now. Nobody cares about you.
Molinari and Finau being paired with Tiger
Yeah.
must have been just kind of deflating. I don't know, just to see the reaction. Everybody, literally everyone on the course pulling for the guy that you're playing with.
Yeah.
Because, Finau I really like. Everything that I've heard about this guy. He's just a
Done.
genuine good dude.
Gavin
Also
Jones.
led the state of Utah in rebounding.
Yep, in high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's an athlete, right?
Yeah.
But Gavin Jones is Tiger the greatest athlete in American sports history
As a whole, not physically.
as a whole? I mean, I know when he first came on, obviously, like you said, he was our generation's Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, absolutely.
My question is, and just to kind of go off of that, is where does Tiger go from here? I mean, does he continue to compete? Obviously, he can at this high level. I'm almost thinking, like, right off in the sunset, I doubt it'll happen that way, but
No, I mean, he's 3 back from Jack right now, playing good golf.
he's 43, which
But that's another one. It's like the old age is past it. I mean, I know LeBron's out of the playoffs and whatnot, but still the dude's balling at year 400, whatever he's in.
He's still
And
27
then Tom
10.
Brady wins the Super Bowl at 41, and now Tiger wins the Masters at 43. It's like,
yeah.
he's back in good shape. He's, I could tell you, he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked like he's been back in it, health and nutrition and all that stuff. But yeah, he's time. It's time to get back in it and beat Jack.
There were people that were saying that, does Tiger, leading into the weekend, it's always, does Tiger have a chance? That's the big question. And that alone should tell you, like, this guy's monumental to the sport, to history. But people are like, does he have it? And I can't remember who it was that was saying that they don't think Tiger's A game is good enough to compete with, Fowler and Spieth and Johnson and Koepka and these younger guys. They're like B game.
Yeah.
And in the back of my head, I'm like,
Yeah.
do you not remember it? Like, he used to win handily.
Yeah.
In his heyday, in the late 90s, early 2000s, he would win tournaments by like 5+ strokes.
Like they're talking about like changing courses for this guy.
Yeah.
Like he was so dominant.
So to me, age is just a number, especially with the modern medicine. But that many back surgeries, that many health problems, I just don't know what's left for him mentally at this point that what box he hasn't checked.
Yeah.
I think he came back. He won a major, especially the Masters.
Yeah.
To me, and this is probably why I'm here and he's playing professional golf, it's more than enough.
Yeah.
Take your time, go back down to Jupiter, Florida, wherever your house is, and just lay on the beach. But
My question too, and we talked about it a little bit prior to the show, was the adjustment with the schedule for the time. I know we went to church. I actually had to watch it on kind of replay. I poked in whenever I could. But would you keep it that way if you're the Masters, or would you go back to the traditional time?
I loved it personally, but I know the West Coast people hated it.
Yeah.
So
Got to be nice to
Yeah, so we're going back to the whole Predators puck dropping at 9:30.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a double-edged sword. I liked it.
I loved
You
it.
did?
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Especially with NBA playoffs on, it's kind of nice like to
They did.
transition into that.
I did think they saw a little bit of a dip in the ratings early on.
Yeah.
Obviously, when it started to become more obvious that Tiger was going to make a push, and then when the ratings skyrocketed, I think it was the most watched Saturday round in, I forget, maybe 5 years or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe if it becomes a norm, it won't be such a fallout, but I don't know. I think they did the right thing, because at the end of the day, they could have risked not being able to finish on Sunday and having a layover to Monday, and that to me would have been catastrophic.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have had to call out of work.
I definitely would not have been at work. It would not have been at work today.
I liked it, but I don't think it's around to stay.
No.
Yeah. Well, for everyone watching, in case you're new and just getting in here, do us a favor and share the show. We're talking Masters. We'll be talking Preds, Braves. We're talking orange and white game for the Vols, and then we'll recap the Game of Thrones Season 8 premiere show or episode last night towards the end. But obviously, we had a huge weekend in sports. in talking through the Masters. I know there's been some stats that Kibby, you got pulled up here. 8 golfers within 2 strokes at the top of the leaderboard. I think, like you were saying a second ago, for whoever was criticizing Tiger and saying, can he really play against this field? And it's one of those things, for him to be 43, being able to come out and win this weekend, you just see how competitive it is.
Yeah.
Really through the weekend. And, yeah, it changes in guys, like we were saying, I forget his name, Molinari, kind of fell apart on Sunday.
Yeah.
At the same time, I know Phil Mickelson's been in that spot where he's had a bad few strokes and has kind of ruined his day. But I think when it comes to any sport, the championship level, it comes down to who makes the least amount of mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's
We had
unreal.
Xander Schauffele, who's a younger guy who's tearing it up right now, one of the top 5 in money. He made a huge push, as did Cantlay. I've never heard of him.
Yeah, Cantlay.
I really don't know anything about him, but I know he was absolutely ripping up that course.
Monster week. The guy came into the weekend 2 over. What was it? 8 under on Saturday.
He had a 64 on Saturday, which was one of 2 64s. Webb Simpson shot the other one.
Yeah.
2 64s on the weekend, which 63 is the course record. Tiger's best is a 65, and that was back in his heyday.
Yeah.
But just the names: Jason Day, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson. Phil Mickelson was up there to start Sunday.
Yeah.
Bubba Watson was in contention. Ricky Fowler made a hard push at the end.
Yeah. You saw the studs make the push.
Yeah.
DJ, where'd that guy come from? All of a sudden, you're like, oh, he's top of the leaderboard.
Yeah. Yeah. The weather got really rough for just like 30 to 45 minutes, but other than that, it was pretty much perfect. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this, and I've kind of worded this question in a weird way on our outline that we can put up, but I know when guys that we all know, Bubba Watson, Jordan Spieth, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Ricky Fowler, are you more interested whenever they're competing at the high level in the Masters or just majors in general? Because I feel if you had taken Tiger Woods out of that story,
Totally different story.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How much does he impact viewership
Oh,
Like,
it's ridiculous.
throughout the weekend really entirely?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I'm an intermediate golf fan. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not hardcore watching every tournament every weekend, but I at least keep up with it and know somewhat the names.
Yeah.
But there's several people that know nothing else about golf other than Tiger Woods. Allie, who's teaching school, they're kids. They've never seen a golf match. They've never been to a golf course.
Yeah.
But they were talking about Tiger.
Exactly.
Like, it's just a totally different.
He's the Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
obviously, of golf, but we were listening to Cowherd before this, just getting everything set up, and there are 2 guys that are kind of in that same universe of historic athletes, and they both had blemishes on their careers,
Yeah.
Gambling, family stuff, and it's just one of those things, it's like, Michael Jackson was a different level of famous, and these guys are
Right there.
they're in that conversation, especially for sports, but
Yeah.
I mean, talk about comeback story.
yeah, for sure.
It's pretty hard to find a better one
Yeah.
than that. I mean, I was tearing up. I know a lot of people were. You
That
said that. You
that
said that.
hug, man, it
you
got
said that
me.
gif. I'm not crying. You're crying. and it was even leading up to the hug. Like I felt somebody tugging on my heartstrings. I was like, it was
Yeah.
hard. It was hard to not be emotional if you had any inkling of a history or knew what that man's been through. And
Yeah.
his name's been dragged through the mud worse than anybody in
Right.
sports history, just about. And for him to come back and win with his kids there, the bittersweet moment, because his dad was there
Yeah.
his first time, and his mom was still there. But
My
Yeah.
brother coming in here. So did you say Michael Jackson? Yes. For the example.
Yes.
Hashtag.
all right, hashtag leave it never
Yeah.
Don't watch it. Please don't watch it.
Yeah. You don't want to have a bad day.
Well, let's transition here since the Masters. Fantastic weekend, obviously, in sports, but the Masters is always one that we will have on the books. By the way, if you're new to us, give us a follow on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter. Wherever you are, we probably are as well. And then chatinsports.com. We actively put up our own articles and our hot takes there. You can find us. But it's a community for all Tennessee sports fans to come in and just endure, especially through the offseason. Obviously, this weekend was great for Orange and White, which we're about to get into, but we've also got some Braves and Predators that are getting kicked back up and rolling. But let's jump in, guys. I know Chase, orange and white game. I had to kind of watch it in pieces, and I finally got to get back into it. Was DVR'd it again, but it's one of those things. My initial reaction was, this is going to be rough.
Yep.
Brian Maurer looked good. He had some good passes. But what was your overall, I mean, looking back, and how would you recap it?
Sounds like everybody's taking this and been like, all right, it's just the orange and white game.
Just a spring game.
Just a spring game. Some guys look good at times.
Yeah.
A lot of guys did not look good. I thought the O-line was getting tore up in a spring game. Like, I know some of these guys made good throws, but a lot of those were knowing that you weren't going to get hit by the guy that was right in front of you because they got blown by. I mean, it was the first play of the game was the pass to Bird. It's because he got whipped off the edge. I can't remember who that was that got through. Maybe Darryl Taylor. I can't remember. But comes through and it would have been a sack in any other game, or he's getting rocked and it's a fluttered up interception. But you make a great pass because you knew you weren't going to get hit. So some of these good throws I was kind of iffy about because I was like, they would have gotten sacked or hit.
Pop that black jersey off and let's see how you throw.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. But overall, as people got better, it looked like most improved was Josh Palmer and Batuli on the defensive end. So you got to see some things. Looked like our defense was pretty solid, moved well. So I don't know. Okay, it's a spring game.
Yeah.
Y'all's opinions?
Yeah, I think people go really hard on spring games. Like they try to look way too far into it. It's like when you have 2 years off in between seasons of Game of Thrones, you just get weird and falling down some rabbit hole of weird theories.
Yeah.
Same thing kind of with spring where, we're on a kind of a drought from football. Your team finally gets back up. You're in Neyland.
Yeah.
For one, the crowd seemed a little small to me.
I think 50,000.
Really?
No, something. Yeah, it's like 50.
It didn't look
51.
like it, man.
The lower bowl I know was full.
Mostly filled.
Yeah.
At the
I think it was sixth highest attendance in the spring game.
Wow. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I know he was asking for people to come out for recruits and.
Yeah. So
they weren't North Carolina. 1,500 people
Really?
came out for their spring game. They had it on.
For Mac Brown.
It was.
Mag attack.
They did it on Sunday. It was Palm Sunday, and you had one of the chance to watch the greatest Masters of all time. Whatever. So
it's a little bit of a schedule.
You're saying literally 1,500.
That's what I heard.
That's like Chris Farley.
I saw a picture. I am, as a Carolina fan, also. I'm in this group on this Facebook group, and somebody took just like a random photo you'd see like in any forum. Oh, here at the game, and I thought this might have been like the early pregame, like she got there walking around. No, this was like during the first quarter. And it looked like just little specks. Like, you'd see this little couple here and this couple here. 0 students. 0 students. But that's what you get for 2 and 14 last year.
It's midterms, man. They're studying.
Or 2 and 11, whatever it was last year.
I know I was going to give a comment. Shout out to our guy Gavin Jones here saying 7 wins at best. Lower half of the SEC is improving a lot more than Tennessee. I'm sorry. I misread that.
Yeah.
Half of the SEC is improving a lot more than Tennessee is. I know. I don't know, man. I don't, like you're saying, I don't want this to sway my opinions because there's a lot of time between now and late August or September to really get going. Because yes, young guys. I know. I watched Wanye Morris specifically, and he had a rough day.
Yeah.
It's again, you're taking a huge leap from high school to college.
Let's say he just wrapped up high school classes.
Yeah.
Let's pump the brakes.
He's been practicing for what? 2 months?
Yeah.
And Herb Gooney comes in, wide receivers and secondary strength of this team, especially secondary. Sure. I know Jalen McCullough had 2 picks.
Yeah.
And again, it's hard to say for those who are bad and those who are good. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
It's a spring game. However, I think the best players are going to shine. I was impressed with Brian Maurer, JT Shroud.
Straight.
He came out for the twos, the orange team, I think it was, and had a really good pass. And then I think the team started to get their legs.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait. I know some people want to try and jump to the point of just saying, well, what is Pruitt doing? And it's like, let's just calm down.
Yeah.
Not read too much into it. They're still building, but this offensive line, I think the defensive line. Did you see much from Aubrey Solomon, the transfer from Michigan?
Not much.
On D4, I think. No.
Yeah, I was kind of with you guys. I was kind of spotty in and out with
Gotcha.
it. There's a lot going on in Preds.
Yeah.
Masters. It was just I was trying to keep up as much as I could.
What a great weekend to be on a couch.
Yeah, I did that a lot.
I think we're going to chalk this past weekend up to like top 5 couch weekends
Yeah.
in the past
The
decade.
stats.
Yeah.
No, it was just kind of shoddy. It just like the whole spring game, the way that it's laid out. If they did like a real deal scrimmage,
Yeah.
where pads are popping, they're actually laying into people, I would maybe feel a little bit more into it. But it felt 3/4 speeds. They just happened to be in full pads. My coach called it brother-in-lawing.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of brother-in-lawing out there.
Explain to me what that is.
Like you're basically going halfway and
Yeah.
making each other look good, but neither of you are actually doing anything. And so I'm not that into spring games, honestly.
Well, let me ask this question then. Do you want to just keep this concept and play each other in the glorified scrimmage, or would you rather have like
An outside
UTC or ETSU come down and play for a Saturday, an actual game?
I don't know.
I would be all for it. I mean, especially, I know for us in Chattanooga, it would be hour and a half drive up.
Yeah.
You get to see your team. You get to be able to see both teams, really. I mean,
Yeah, I think that would. I mean, there's going to have to be some rule changes for that to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
but they still get paid, probably. You're saying, right? I mean,
Yeah, let's
they
say-
get the benefit of playing.
Because
I guess that would
school.
take away the freebie aspect of it. I mean, unless the university just wanted to pay them something.
yeah,
Hey, we're not going to be able to give you what we would in a regular season, but hey, we'll give you something.
yeah. I think I'd rather just see like a really like a fierce, like it felt like it was a position battle game,
Yeah.
and not necessarily do 1s and 2s, do a mix,
Yeah.
and just
Just for fun.
like maybe throw the quarterbacks in the black jersey still, but like
Mhm.
everybody else just go at it.
I don't know, man. I remember in high school, like when you had a scrimmage against somebody, especially midsummer or into the summer.
It's brutal.
Oh, it's one of those, like you're about to, it's a fight.
Yeah,
and that's the
You're tired of
attitude
hitting each
change.
other.
Yeah.
You want to hit somebody else.
And even the attitude change, I'm sure Tennessee would come out, but even for those, if you're UTC and you went up and Gavin Jones says, I'm taking UTC 10 out of 10 times.
Wow.
But,
Savagery, yeah.
yeah. But if you were able to go up and see those FCS schools come in and really not compete, but hold their own.
Yeah.
The confidence, I mean, that would be fantastic even for Tennessee just to be able to hit somebody. And like you said, you're sick of your teammates at that point. So
Yeah.
I'd be all for it.
I think the main thing is just not put too much weight on a spring game or even like spring practices to me, because it's a lot of those kids' first time being in a legitimate program.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You got a lot of new transfers. You don't have a full team technically there yet. So let's just, like you said, pump the brakes.
It's just a
Back off from the ledge, Vol Twitter.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
So it's good to see some Vol football.
Yeah. Just
Right.
added to Saturday, Just added added to another good
Well,
part
it's
of the week.
funny. I want to go to Braves versus. We have it for the Preds next, but I went to the Braves game. I wish I was on the couch Friday, because the Friday game against the Mets for the Braves. My father-in-law. It was Game of Thrones night at SunTrust Park. They had the shirts. They had the music. They had everything. It was awesome. The atmosphere was awesome, but the Braves.
Not so much.
Well, I mean, let me say this: there was a certain rookie pitcher who had a rough outing.
May or may not be on the Stripers roster at this point.
He may have gotten demoted and made a little swapperoo. It was a rough night Friday night. I think the end final score after everything was 6-2. I think it was the third or fourth inning for Kyle Wright, and it just didn't stop. And I swear he was throwing the same pitch to the same zone, and it was the same hit right in
Is
in
Kyle
right
Wright
field.
the top draft pick out of Vandy?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Or, I'm gonna say
I
Florida.
know Swansby's from Vandy, but
Yes, he was
Yeah.
at Vanderbilt.
okay, cool. Yeah, he hadn't really panned out yet.
He's young.
He or Bryce Wilson, those two people kind of names that
Our
people
starting
had.
linebacker pitcher.
Our starting linebacker picture.
Good job, bro.
It's a farm system.
Yeah.
it takes a while.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of players that struggle, and not many people make it past the AAA. Like first, 8-round draft picks never make it to even AAA sometimes. So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Give 'em time.
Plenty of reason to be frustrated with the Braves right now.
Well, the thing is, Saturday and Sunday games were great.
Oh
yeah.
Bats were hot. It was one of those things. Like I was to my father-in-law, I was like, "Who's this team?" And who did we try to go see on Friday?
Yeah, get the ESPN game on Sunday. All thing,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and that was I kind of liked their
Maybe
broadcast.
it's the Reds,
Suntrust.
the red jerseys. They just,
Maybe that is true.
They don't like them.
I'm not a big fan of the red out. But yeah, 11-7 on Saturday, then 7-3, and we split the series with the Mets. Which I'm just thinking every divisional game that we've got, it's a nail biter, and that's where I know our pitching staff or our pitching rotation is a huge part of this team's success. Especially like I feel like all of our teams are getting to divisions that are super competitive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Titans and now Braves and of course Predators barely squeeze out the division, and then I know. It's the 16th. So I think we have tomorrow we play against the Diamondbacks. So non-divisional. Tuki Toussaint comes back up from the Stripers when Kyle goes down, I guess.
Yeah.
And he had a pretty good weekend. I mean, what did you think as far as his?
Yeah, he looked
outing?
good. He had good command. He's got the stuff, man. It's always been, I feel like, a head game with him. He has the velocity. He's got the stuff. He had a hard time piecing together consecutive innings of just like masterful work. There were sometimes he would come in and just dominate a frame, and the next inning he'd come out and just kind of look like he's half asleep still. So,
Right.
it's kind of more frustrating to me than someone that never had a flash of brilliance or dominance in the first place is to have it and then for it to just disappear. But his last outing was great. I mean, it's going to be good to have him around for sure. I don't know what role he's going to be in, but
I know. Obviously, with pitching, catchers are a vital part of that, and I think since Brian McCann pulled his hamstring, Tyler Flowers got hit in the hand on his throwing hand.
yeah,
And there were a couple plays that he was trying to go down and hit second base, and it was off, and Ozzie couldn't get it and
really.
make the tag. And it was evident. I know Charlie Culberson's kind of the reserve or utility catcher, if you will, but obviously McCann comes in, has not been doing well, gets hurt. Josh Donaldson comes out slow, and then Friday night he hit well. I think Saturday he hit really well as well. And then Sunday, I'm going to pull up Sundays and see how he did. But like we've talked about, the bats are warming up. I'm hoping that can relieve some stress for some of the pitching.
Acuna got NL Player of the Week last week.
Yeah.
He's already got 5 homers.
3 homers last week.
3 last week, but he's already got 5 on the season. Dansby Swanson's coming out like a man possessed.
Yep. Playing
He is.
awesome baseball.
Not only at the dish, but in the field as well. He's made some huge plays at short. I think leading into, let's not skip over 2 huge signs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. It seemed out of nowhere to me.
It did.
Yeah.
It did seem out of nowhere. It almost seems like they're, and this is just me being a conspiracy theorist, it seems like they're trying to go after somebody, and they maybe needed to lock down some numbers in the meantime.
Yeah, but it's
Is
kind
that
of crazy
hopeful?
though because like
That's
all these
super hopeful.
humongous numbers you're hearing for these
For
guys.
contracts, and then our 2 best prospects that everyone in the league wants.
Yeah.
Albie's at second, and then Acuna in the outfield. $100 million for Acuna over what?
6 years?
6 years.
I
Yeah.
was looking it up. 8 years for
8
$100
years.
million, but then all these
Even
was
worse.
what, 35 mil for 5
7.
years?
No, 35.
Let me pull it up.
Something 5 times 30, 5 times 7.
Yeah. That's
35. I
what
can't remember if it's
like,
5 years or 7.
Let's see.
Worst contract ever. Yes,
But
I've heard that.
the
over
point
and
being
over
is
again.
that it was a steal of a contract for really
Both
both of
unbelievable.
those guys. And I'm thinking, let's see, $7 million or $35 million for 7 years,
Yeah.
Okay, so 5
and
per.
$45 million over 9 years if the club exercises its 2-year option. So,
Wow.
Anthropoulos, I know a lot of people were sweating through the offseason because there weren't the signings, like the sexy signings, I guess.
Yeah.
Donaldson and McCann coming back it was big for conversation, but it wasn't Bryce Harper and comparison kills. But it's one of those things. Do you think the tension's been relieved as far as the inactivity through the offseason. And like you were saying, if these deals get freed up money or whatever it is to really get that pick.
That's what I'm hoping.
Maybe a Craig Kimbrell guy.
I'm like
Oh God,
Dallas Keuchel. I mean,
you would have
not
thought
a
somebody.
whole lot out there
Yeah.
still to get. We'll see. That, like I said, wishful is definitely the term.
Kyle Copeland.
Because math is hard.
Math is hard.
Yeah,
Math
don't
is very
expect
hard.
us U.S. Express guys to get this right.
If the computer doesn't do it for us,
I've only got 10 fingers.
That West Tennessee education.
yeah.
No, I had a great time watching the Braves this weekend. And again, the tension in the division. Obviously, we won last year. You'd like to keep it going. I think, not that I lost faith in Anthopoulos. You want, and now as a Titans fan, it's like you just wait for signings to come in.
Yeah.
But it's like, all right, it's obviously a completely different game, different song, different act, everything when it comes to baseball, especially with these young prospects. And I forget sometimes how young this team is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then to think those guys are locked up for that amount of time is awesome.
Right. I think this team, as it is comprised currently, goes about as far as Kevin Gausman and Sean Newcomb in their arms.
Where's Fulte at? I mean, I know he's been
Fulte's
hurt,
coming
but-
back, and I expect Fulte to jump right back in and be just as good as he was last year. Even though he was phenomenal last year, I think he's going to build on that. And he's had some good outings in minor league ball. And I think you expect the same from Tehran.
Yeah.
He
pitched
he's
yesterday.
to me he's consistent. He's never been like crazy like Cy Young numbers, but he's always been serviceable. And so I don't think we really have to worry about him. Like I said, it's the younger aces that we have, like, unless we go out and get somebody else to replace one of them in the rotation.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like, it's clearly not going to happen. Like, you can see it if we've not made the move now. I just don't see it happening.
It's like who?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of people left.
No.
Well, luckily in the division, it's very tight. Again, AFC South comparison.
Yeah.
Phillies are in first with a one-game win streak at 9-5. The Mets, I think they're kind of surprising some folks.
Yeah,
as far as
I told you.
they're 9-6, 2 straight losses against the Braves. Obviously, we won 2 straight. We are currently 9-6. Washington 7-7, and then Miami's down there at 4.
And Washington's not going to be 7-7 much longer. It's a matter of time before they catch fire. It's a tough division, man.
Yeah.
It is, and like you said, it seems like other teams are improving at a more rapid pace than the Braves are right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just,
I think I forget sometimes how good this team, even from 2 years ago,
right.
coming to where we were last year, and it's like, well, we have so much space to make up. It's like, I mean, yes, we can always get better, but we're not going from
Go
2 years ago.
Not even expecting to be close to the playoffs to winning the pennant in literally one season.
Yeah.
The beginning of the season to the end of the season. So
Everybody just assumes, like, oh, since you won the pennant, you have to just keep doing it. And then, well, we got a little.
we didn't go out and spend $330 million on Bryce
We
Harper.
did.
So.
Thank the Lord.
A couple comments
Lord.
coming in here. Steven Snyder says, have to battle the Mets and Phillies this year for the division. Gavin says, realistically, who would y'all like to see the Braves get? We were just talking, I think it's pretty slim pickings. You were saying...
Dallas Keuchel is still out there. The Padres are the favorites to land him at this point, but
And I know I've talked to
we've been in talks with him for months.
I've talked to our guy, Andy Sims, who writes for us for the Braves sometimes. He's saying if it's going to happen, if we're going to get somebody worth naming, it's going to be via trade.
Okay.
And just making some type of...
That makes sense.
Some move. Yeah.
Anybody but Freddie.
Yeah. Really? Would you say anybody, really?
No.
Okay, I was going to say.
Take it back.
Whew. I'm like, wait, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Don't go. No, but it's been, I used to be just a straight football and maybe hockey because the Preds were getting hot, but now it's like, the Braves.
Yeah.
My wife likes watching the Braves as well. Her
Going
family.
down there, man. It's a totally different experience.
We got to go sometime.
Yeah.
And if anybody's in Atlanta watching or in Chattanooga and y'all want to get down with us, give us a message. But it's,
We'll be down for any weekend over the summer.
dude, but some
Little
trust.
Daddy's Day out.
Yeah, baby. Get me out of here. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we'll move on to the Predators now. But chop on, keep it going. It's going to be a fun year, especially when it's competitive. Yeah, very early, but it'll be a tight one. But NHL playoffs are in full effect. I wanted to give a shout out. I think he popped in, Matt Helmers, who does work with us too at US Express. Big Tampa Bay Lightning, thoughts and prayers. They might get swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets.
It's rough. Dude.
Just absolute.
That's why I love NHL playoffs, because it is. Yeah, you can be a great team, and usually the Pens are in there, and there's some powerhouse teams, but you just never know what could happen. And the Preds, speaking of, I won't say I've lost 100% faith, because that Game 2 overtime win was pretty big. I know we've talked about, and we were texting about it, Matthias Ekholm, some dumb penalties.
He was spent, so much of the first period, second period in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were playing a man down literally half the first two periods,
Right.
It felt like.
Yeah, I turned it on at 1 minute, and it was like power play for the Stars, and there was like 3 minutes and 45 seconds. I was like, what? Did someone assault somebody and take their skate off like Happy Gilmore? What is up?
It was just dumb, too. I don't know. He had a bad game. And
Yeah.
Ekholm needs to be good if we're going to be good.
Well, the thing is, I know there's been a lot of talk with, obviously, we've kind of written it out this way as far as, obviously, they're 1-1 in the series. Tonight, we've talked about it. Game 3 is at 9:30 Eastern Standard. They squeezed out Game 2 win, which was fantastic at home. Preds have traditionally been okay on the road. I know with Pekka, it's a toss-up, but I know Jaffalan has not been the Jaffalan. Power play's been a struggle. Penalties, like we said. But the biggest thing for me is the injuries. And obviously David Poyle pushed hard for Wayne Simmons from Philly, and Brian Bull from the Devils to make some moves there to try and they've Game 2, Simmons gets hit in the leg by Roman Yossi's slap shot.
Yeah.
That was
And then
vicious.
What a weird.
Right on
yeah.
the kneecap.
Yeah.
And he was jumping.
He was
Yeah,
jumping
trying
trying to get
avoid it.
away. Yeah. Caught
Yeah.
it square. I can only imagine how bad that hurt.
It's again, Happy Gilmore reference. 364 days to hockey season. He's taking shots. Even if I was fully padded, I've been hit by my brother and I played roller hockey. Even those little balls, like those plastic balls, it'll leave a mark. But I could not imagine a big old NHL regulation size hockey puck.
Especially coming off a Yossi stick. He's got some velocity.
Oh yeah.
That thing's cooking.
But I know, and I was texting my brother today since the games tonight, and he is predicting. I'll say this, and I'll call him out for it. But the hot take, they're gonna win Game 2, 3, and 4, and then come back and
Come back and win.
go on the road and win both games. Which again, I don't think the Preds. It's out of their character to do that.
No.
I think he and I were talking to, and other people have commented on Preds Twitter as well, just saying. Guys like Kyle Turris, like you pay the guy, I think $8 million is what he's making, and he's just not producing, not having the what you expect to get out of a guy like that. But are y'all concerned? I know we talked about penalties, but the lack of discipline, is that going to sink the Preds? You think? If you're arguing with the ref and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, it could if the front line doesn't. We've always talked about the defense being so good offensively for the Preds, and that's what's carried them in the past. But if you don't have, the guys that are supposed to be scoring,
Right.
it's an uphill battle the whole way. You can't afford to have stupid penalties, it's more of a distraction than anything
Yeah,
to
if
me.
you're getting this flustered at home, I mean, you're going into
Hostile.
Dallas.
Yeah.
It's so.
And you're playing a man down, so it means you're not actually even playing offense. You're just puck clearing. That's going to bite you in the butt, man, real quick. And Dallas is a good team. To me, Dallas has looked like the better team.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the first game live, but what I've seen of the first game and then watching the second game.
Ben Bishop's
Oh,
played
first
awesome.
game.
Yeah.
First game started out really well, and it just slowly got worse and worse. And again, I'm not gonna lie, the 9:30 puck drops. It's
rough.
I saw the first goal, and I remember getting tied up 1-1, and after that, I don't remember.
Yeah. Old granddaddy Chat 10 Sports, we all fell asleep. But I know Game 2 was obviously a bit better, and it was tighter. But the overtime win, and that was a nice Saturday afternoon puck
I
drop.
think that was
6
o'clock.
Yeah, perfect. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Especially for the Dallas. I mean, they're Central Time, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
But throw us a bone.
But Pekka's still got it, man. I mean,
man.
he's near the end of his career. He's still phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that Dallas goalie is
Yeah,
6'7", too.
Bishop.
Ben Bishop's
He's one
balling,
of the best younger goalies, if I'm not mistaken, in the league right now. So
I know one guy that people have been talking about, and he's played fantastic, is Rocco Grimaldi.
yeah,
It's just one of those things. I feel like there's always a guy or two that really come out. obviously we had Kevin Fiala, and he was shipped off, I think, in one of the trades. I forget who exactly it was. It was probably Minnesota is where he ended up. But I'm expecting, I know Craig Smith, and I think Ryan Johansson was talking about his leadership and just how he just shows up, super professional. I think tonight's a big game, obviously, especially if you lose round one on the road, and you have 2 games back to back. It could be a big swing.
Oh yeah,
for the guys. But
Grimaldi's lightning quick.
5'6".
He's really short.
Yeah,
it's funny. They had I can't remember his name.
Echo.
No, the Dallas player.
Oh, he's like 6'8".
22. No, the little. We both had little short dudes on each other. And it's just funny watching them like zip around the
giants.
yeah,
The door
just right next to like if Chara or somebody was out there, it'd have been hilarious. But like, he's instant offense. He's a big part of the reason they came back. He didn't get the goal, but he was creating opportunities and putting Dallas in some vulnerable situations. Not many other people were, so
yeah,
it was just one of those things. You know,
we'll be rooting for the old Preds on the road
tonight.
I just realized it's about 10 till. Try and wrap it up so you guys can get back home at a decent hour. But as promised, it's time to recap the Westerosi Times, if you will. Season 8's here, man, and if you're, I'll say I'll try and be a little bit considerate of those who have watched and who have not watched. But spoiler warning for season 8 and anything prior to, we might speculate. So if we get something right and we happen to get for next episode or beyond, potential spoilers as well. But obviously it is back, episode 1. Fantastic. I loved the episode. There's been some talk, as always. People were like, no. I know some people didn't like season 7. I liked it, but
season 7 was fine.
I think what I loved the most about this episode is it got back to the roots of what season 1 and 2 and 3 were like, and really, I like the I listened to Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, the podcast from a couple guys out of Texas that do a fantastic recap and just discussion. But I know, basically, obviously, this was a very similar episode from season 8, episode 1. It was very much similar to season 1, episode 1, when Robert Baratheon and Cersei and the clan were going up to Winterfell after Jon Arryn died. And then this episode, obviously, rolling into Winterfell for Jon and Daenerys. You got to kind of see everything, everybody. The new intro, which we talked about. You see a little budget, the bumped up budget.
Money. Yeah, you can see some money on that intro.
It was fantastic. I liked it. You see the wall, and then the ice kind of growing down as it goes as they go south.
Straight cash.
Obviously, Daenerys is not being getting the northern welcome that she probably expected. Nope. And it's funny because I know in previous seasons they've talked about people were making secret toasts to you and you being on the Iron Throne, and she's coming over to the Seven Kingdoms. And she's last season had to take matters into her own hand with the Loot Train Massacre, and then actually sees the people of Winterfell in the north not going so hot. Yeah. Obviously, Dany and Sansa having that sister and brother's girlfriend dynamic for a little bit,
awkward,
little tension. But just right there, give me y'all's initial recap.
Dude, I love the episode. John rode a dragon.
John rode a dragon.
That whole segment was hilarious.
So that got a lot of trash, and I get it. It is kind of.
But at the same time, I think it was beneficial. I know the post Dan and Dave segment did say, hey, we're trying to basically show the bond between Jon and Daenerys, and then also his bond as a Targaryen.
That's what I'm saying. Jon doesn't really pick up on things really quick all the time. He's not really big on indicators and things like that. That should have been a telltale sign that he was part Targaryen right there.
Well, even last season, and him touching Rhaegal, and
so
there's rumors about Tyrion since I think season 4 or 5. He went into the they were in Marine, but he went into those.
Oh yeah, and fed him.
Fed him and kind of talked to him and took the chains off of him. We'll see what happens there, but obviously
Bran.
Yeah, creepy Bran. I know.
Creepy
Everybody's
Bran.
talking about Bran. But I love that part where he just said, "We don't have time for this. The
Yeah.
Night King has your dragon, and they're coming south."
And she was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's
He's
funny.
like,
I saw someone kind of summarize that as the screenwriter Bran. Like, we don't have time to bicker here. Let's get this thing going. Which made me think this thing's about to go full tilt.
Yeah.
Wasn't the fastest, biggest episode out there, but I think it did its purpose.
I'll say this: me and my boy Blaze Keelan last night. I was a little let down initially.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why: it was because of the Masters. Wonderful television weekend.
We're going level 10 the whole
You know,
weekend.
I'm like, I feel like I'm on speed. You know, so like you come in with a story building episode. I was like, this blows. I want death and violence.
Yes.
And,
Well,
you know.
I was surprised there was, especially not to jump ahead too far, but I won't go through every single thing. But when Theon went and got Yara off
Loved
the
it.
silence, shooting people through the eye with arrows and then a hatchet to the face,
and
like
if also,
Theon's back, baby.
I didn't realize. Did you know that was Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
That got stabbed in the face.
He got shot in the face. I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
In the face.
Yeah. Group text told me that today. But I got back, and then as I looked at it today, I was like, that was a good episode, story building.
Yeah.
Gave you a super creepy moment for like 2 minutes when Tormund and
Yeah.
the watch go in there. You're like, all right, that's a little much for me. But, okay.
I know for let me see here. For that was little Lord Umber that Arya or excuse me Sansa told him to go back to get the house to come to Winterfell. Interesting take, because I didn't realize us watching it, but as Tormund and Beric Dondarrion went in, there were pools of blood everywhere, but no bodies, which just signifies that they are a part of the dead.
Yeah.
Which is like, God bless them. It's like
Yeah.
100,000 strong, and then of course Golden Company goes to King's Landing. Euron and Cersei get it on. I think he's done for. I think that I thought the Mountain was going to cut him down. Did the whole process. Big and for us to talk about, and anybody watching as well, but Cersei made Bronn of the Blackwater an offer to go kill Jaime and Tyrion with the same crossbow that Tyrion killed Tywin Lannister with. Do you think Bronn goes through with it and kills the Lannister brothers?
No. No chance. I think he joins them somehow.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's hurting that bad anymore.
Yeah.
He's kind of like half Lord status now.
Ooh, how do you think Tyrion winds up killing Cersei with the bow?
Because the prophecy was the little brother.
Right. I've heard
But-
theories, man, out the wazoo as far as Jaime killing her or Arya killing Jaime and we're in his face and killing Cersei, and then Cersei's dying somehow,
She
some
gone.
way. But that was one thing I want to see. Obviously, I don't think he'll do it, but I'm very intrigued to see how it plays out. One part of the show that really intrigued me is Tyrion, Varys, and Davos were speaking, and they were looking down on Jon and Daenerys. And Varys says, as they look on to them too, he says, "Respect is how the young keep the old away, so they don't remind them of the unfortunate truth that nothing lasts." And I'm taking that is that in Game of Thrones is all about foreshadowing, but is that comment that nothing lasts from Varys and Jon, or excuse me, that nothing lasts could foreshadow one of their deaths?
Well, I don't know. I think that more foreshadows what's about to come whenever he drops the news on her.
Drops the bomb.
He's
Yeah,
like,
like-
hey,
You're mine.
You still want to do this thing?
so what we did on the boat, it's a little weird, but I'm still into it.
Do you want them to split up now? That's like, obviously we've all known that, but now that Jon knows it, I don't.
No. Not really.
I mean, people are. I mean, obviously, like the Lannisters have been incestual since the beginning, and of course, historically, Targaryens have been as well. But
I don't think Dany can take the fact that she's not really the true heir.
Yeah.
that's
Like
a
I,
big.
I think John is totally fine playing second fiddle, even with this news.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Daenerys just blows up, after all. I think this is a huge, like, kind of like a fork in the road with them two. Like, they maybe agree to still help each other, but maybe
Yeah.
the relationship is definitely going
That's
to
what I
take
was
a
thinking it
turn.
was. That was a good way.
I don't know.
My part of me is. I'm not nervous. I would not hate to see it, but it opens the idea in the door that Jon loves Daenerys, she does not want to bend the knee. She is putting her foot in the ground as the rightful heir, and she goes a little mad queen.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he kills
She's
her.
got the crazy look.
And she's
crazy.
Does
They
have the
definitely
crazy
established
look,
that.
especially with the her and Sansa beef.
yeah.
Like you see the jealous girlfriend in her. And
The RBF, the resting bitch face.
Yeah,
was
dude.
In full, and when they were at the table, and she and Sansa said, "What do dragons even eat?" And she
she's
said,
like, whatever they
"Whatever
want.
they want." Just like, goof. Okay,
All right, here we go.
but I know, and I look at this episode. Obviously, a lot of fans and viewers know the truth about Jon and Rhaegar and Lyanna. Now all the characters are up to speed, and now it's like full steam ahead.
Here we are.
I think the battle. You think the battle's next episode
Episode 3
starts?
is
Episode 3 is the big
the,
battle.
the battle of
The
Winterfell.
first
okay.
8-minute episode.
I didn't know it had been announced.
Oh.
I've been trying to stay away from Reddit. I've been trying to stay away
Yeah.
from YouTube videos.
Well, no.
So that's going to be another monster weekend with in-game and in that battle.
Ugh.
Well, that's draft weekend.
Yeah, draft weekend.
What else? I think something else. Yeah, end game, and then
My 28th birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Duh.
Is
Yeah.
what day of the week? What day of the month is it?
26th.
26th.
That day.
So I was like, is this your golden year?
so you're on Friday.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta come to Nashville. Wait, you mean in Vegas?
No, on
No,
May
wait.
10th.
You're saving up from Vegas. I'm like, I'm going to the draft. You might be going to the draft.
Go up there.
And if you were down in Nash
I would be
Vegas,
Friday. If we could go, both of Kurt and I are talking. It best to be Friday night.
do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Do it. I know a guy who lives up there who can
Yeah.
crash his house.
You know a couple.
This Matthew Wynn.
Yeah, he's a real douche.
Never heard of her.
A real douche. Anyways, final thing of the episode, it was Jaime returns to Winterfell. Hooded, gets kind of parks his horse, jumps off, looks around like, I'm in the clear, and then he makes eye contact with creepy ass.
He's been sitting in the same little
No,
way.
I love that part. Sam comes out and he says, it's time to tell John. He says, I'm waiting for an old friend. It's like, what are you, how far ahead are you in the future?
Brand
man?
you sandbagging son.
Yeah. No, I somebody was hating
Friends
on
of Night
Sam.
King, man.
You think so?
You're the first person I've heard say that. So.
Well, that's the theory that I think everyone is tossing out.
Well,
Let's get to the.
Well, episode 2,
Oh yeah, never mind. I was gonna get to your
maybe. Episode 2 preview has Jaime being in prison at Winterfell. Winterfell prepares for battle. Arya prepares for the new face of death, the Night King. And then it looks to be that Jon and Daenerys will be in the crypts, and Jon will drop the bomb. But go ahead, have your fun. Get
All
it
right.
over with.
I guess I can just ask you, Kurt. Agree or disagree? Trey wants to turn this Chat 10 Sports podcast into a Game of Thrones podcast.
agree.
Thank you.
I happen to get a little excited about this new season, and on our outline today, I wrote about
I just want to give you guys like
3 pages.
usually most outline segments are a quarter page to a half
Our
page.
entire outline is 2.5 pages.
No,
Yeah.
come on.
And then your boy over here wrote a solid 2 page. I mean, I thought I was about to read a whole article.
3 pages.
It was almost like relief, just get it all, and it was a lot. Obviously, we had a big watch party last night. Had some friends over, and made some grubs.
You have watched this episode 3 hours of your last 24.
I mean, I've listened. It's like a podcast that you can listen to. I have a problem. Okay, stop judging me. Anyways. Obviously, probably nobody's watching right now except for my mom.
Yeah.
The turnout. The message has been made clear, so we get it. Yeah, that'll wrap up this episode and this week's show. Thanks to everybody who did chime in and give us.
Stay tuned for Trey's spinoff.
Yeah, my hashtag.
After this show, Trey is going to hop onto his own Game of Thrones podcast.
I'll be right here with the same backdrop.
We're just going to leave.
Get a Game of Thrones throne.
I'll have my garb on, my Jon Snow garb. Anyways, I have no shame in the game. But yeah, check us out, chat10sports.com if you have not already. We will convert this into a podcast, so in case your friends missed it and it was fun and you liked it, you can share that with them via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, YouTube, and then again, you can find all that on chat10sports.com. But for Kurt McKibben, Chase Green, I'm Trey Wynn. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Have a great rest of your week.
See you guys.
How about you guys think you are so funny? Who's Lance